Alright, I'm ready when you are.
So in 2010, I went to South Korea. Like most times in my life, I was trying to get out of here and go up and do something else, or just get away from where I was. I went to college in San Antonio just to get out of Houston. You know, post college, like a lot of people, I was disaffected and working a shitty job, and I had thought about joining the Navy, but I had moral qualms with that, I guess. And so I decided to go teach English abroad. So I did some research online, and everything that I read was like, this is probably not a great idea if you go to a private school, and by private I mean for profit. It's kind of hit or miss. But I didn't want to get my ESL certification, so I was like, fuck it. And I went and got paperwork. You basically got to tell them that you're not a criminal, and get it okayed by a judge or a notary or whoever. And I talked to the people. I talked to a few people. I didn't jump on the first boat over there, actually plane. But then I got a call and I got accepted. They paid for my ticket. I flew 13 hours in the plane, which isn't really scary. I mean, planes are weird because it's like once you're in a plane, there's no reason to freak out because there's nothing you can do. So you might as well enjoy yourself. But 12 hours was definitely kind of a thing for me. And when I got there, I took a bus for a couple hours from, I think I landed in Seoul, and I went down to a city called Daejeon, which is, or something like that. It's been a while. It's south of it. And I actually was on some street corner off the bus just hanging out. I thought I was going to be picked up there. No one came, and finally some nice Korean dude came up who spoke English, and I had the number from my boss. He called my boss. My boss came and picked me up. The first thing we did was go to a little Korean restaurant. And this was late at night. I guess must have been like 8 or 9 or something. But it's one of those things, you go and you take your shoes off and you sit, and they bring you this tray with meat and vegetables, and you kind of cook it. It's like it's got a little flame. You kind of cook it there. They smell really weird because everyone takes their shoes off. It smells like feet in there, and you're also eating, so it's whatever. But it's a very nice gesture. And then miscommunication. I thought I had the next day off. Apparently I didn't. So he was kind of a little, I guess, pissed off at that. Whatever. It was fine. So I started working there. I worked with a older white guy who was Mormon and had been in China before it was now in Korea. He was the other American. I moved into a place where a couple had lived. It was a guy and a girl who had taught there together. It was kind of cool because since they were a couple, I got the big room, which is nice. It's still small. I don't know if anyone's ever seen them here, but they had little tiny washing machines about the size of like a freezer. You can put a little bit of clothes in. It's right there in the kitchen. I thought that was really interesting. I'm digressing, but they also have a whole station full of StarCraft. Literally, I'm pretty sure it's 24 hours a day with StarCraft, and The Simpsons. That can be going. I could get The Simpsons over there. But anyway, back to the people. I also worked with a Korean girl. And a couple Korean girls and the American. Basically what we do is they talk to the kids in Korean in one class and teach them grammar and stuff like that. Then they come to us and we just kind of, depending on the age group, you kind of speak in English and you do a lot of pointing and gesturing and stuff like that. I didn't have to speak any Korean to them. So I didn't realize it, but I was doing all the way from maybe like 7-year-olds all the way up to high school, and each class was different. So the one with the little kids, I would basically go in and have a big book with pictures, and I would point to it and be like, cat, and they would say cat, and we would draw out the letters C-A-T, I got in hot water when I let one girl go to the bathroom, and then everyone wanted to go to the bathroom, and then I said no, and then there was crying, and then later my teacher told me to just bring candy and bribe the kids with candy. That kind of worked. There was another class that was like junior high, or maybe right before junior high, but it was different age groups, not age groups, it was different levels of English. So some people spoke fluent, some people didn't speak at all, and I forget why, but I was drawing a Korean flag on their thing, and I drew it very poorly, and they seemed to get angry at that, and then they drew like a really crappy American flag, and I thought that was funny. It was cool because the kids who could just speak English, we would do readings, and they didn't really help the other kids, but they could kind of keep along. And then I would have to talk to the other kids. They would just kind of, they've learned to read English and understand the letters, but I don't know how well they knew it. And that's the hardest part, I think, with real teachers too, is when you're dealing with kids at different levels in the same classroom. Then I had like some straight up high school kids who were like, I felt like they just hormones and just didn't give a fuck, and I just felt stupid every time I was up in front of them. My favorite kids were Lenny and Stella. That's not their real names, but they gave us American names to call them because otherwise we would just butcher their actual names. And Lenny and Stella were twins, and they were like 10, and their dad did business in America, so they would go to America and I guess stay for a while so they could speak English. We basically just do little worksheets, you know, fill out the sentences, little crosswords, and it was really fun just because they were cool. Like Lenny was like, "You look like a baby," and I was like, "I'm a big fat baby," and that's what he would always call me. Oh yeah, the girls, like the high school kids, would always do this because I have horrible bags under my eyes, so they would just come around and do this. That was funny. But Lenny and Stella, it was cool because I was still teaching there when they left for America, and we got to have a party. We basically went and bought soda pop and little like streamers and toys and hung out. Outside of school, my little area, they're called dongs. It's funny. That's the name for a town, or like a little neighborhood. And like I would walk down to the corner store, and there'd be like old Korean guys drinking a bunch of soju, which is kind of like their rice wine. And I drank a lot of soju on my off time, and I stayed in my room a lot. I would go out. I went out to the movies. I went out with some of my work friends. My favorite memory is like a late night, just me going out to buy fried chicken, and I brought my guitar, and I couldn't talk to the guy, but he pulled out his guitar. So like while the chicken was frying, I just played guitar. I played like some country music, and he did his thing. It wasn't really Korean when he played. It was just regular guitar. I will say, don't ever buy fried chicken in Korea because they fry every part of the chicken, and I really don't know what I ate sometimes, but there it is. I only stayed there for about 2 months. I was on a year contract, and it's my biggest regret that instead of quitting that job and finding another one, that I basically just didn't show up Friday and went to America instead. But I had hurt my arm before I went, and it was getting really intense. Like I was having problems lifting it, things like that. And Korea, like I think a lot of Asian countries, is about appearances and like how you project yourself, and they put more emphasis on the veneer, I guess, like the facade. Like, you dress well, are you rich, are you stand up, are you healthy, but they don't really care about anything else. I mean, they do, but like, not really. And so, I was getting flack from the principal for having like my arm hurting, and the kids were noticing, and I got paid in a brown paper bag full of money. I don't know if that's how it was supposed to happen, but I literally got this much, like a stack. It was 1,600 American. I forget what they called. It's called won, I think, but it was very weird feeling, and they kept not giving me my bank account. I was trying to sign up for healthcare. I remember like doing, I had to do report cards. I don't know how I was to rate these kids' progress. I literally just wrote out a bunch of stock phrases for like 70 cards, and then they didn't tell me they were supposed to be typed. I don't know. Like I don't know what you want me to tell your parents about these kids. I'm basically a kind of an international babysitter, more than a teacher, and on that, I felt bad about that too. Like I went there with not the intention of helping the kids. Like I went there to go fuck around, and I did that. And then one Friday, I was having a really bad day, and I just didn't go in. I think like a week before, their secretary guy, his name was Roy, and I literally was like, Roy, I'm quitting. And he didn't understand me, and I was just so browbeaten that I just went back to work. I was like, okay. And, that next Friday, I just woke up, took a bus to Seoul, and flew into California, I guess Friday and Saturday. So, well, that's my story, and I think everyone should travel, and I think everyone should go and maybe do things like that. But if you're gonna go, make sure you're going for the right reasons, and don't go to people's country and just fucking party or just fuck around.